Hi, welcome back. Today we are going to create our health pickups for our characters so that when we take damage, we can run around, try to find some health pickups, and have our health regenerated. We're going to go all the way through the process of creating a health pickup, and then we're also going to want to have them spawn so that they're not just a one-time pickup every level. Every time we get a new wave, we'll get some additional health pickups that will spawn. So what that's going to look like is this demo here. Go ahead and hit play. And usually one spawns right there. We go. So we're going to use this model. I'll show you where to get this particular model, and you can use any model you want. You don't have to use the same one I'm using, but basically when we take damage, I can let a little bit of damage here. Come up here and pick this health pack up, and you can see that it regenerated some of my health. Okay, so that's going to be what we're going to work on for this video. So let me go ahead and bring up the video that we're working on here. And what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to create a new folder. So we're going to go back to our content and into our blueprints folder. And then right here, we need to create a new folder. We're going to right click, add a new folder, and this one is going to be called pickups, for lack of a better term, because this folder is going to contain anything that we create that will be a pickup, things like health pickups. If we want to, you can do ammo pickups and things like that. All right, so now that we have that set up, let me go ahead and show you where you can download the model that I'm using. Right here under TurboSquid, this paramedic bag, if you just do a search in TurboSquid for paramedic bag, this bag will pop up. It's a free download. I thought it was it looked pretty good for being free. So again, it's just got a standard license on it. You can use it for your own modeling purposes. And let me go ahead and okay, so down here is where that paramedic bag is, and you can see that it comes as a max, so 3ds max or an OBJ. I'm going to use this OBJ version right here and download it and save it. Okay, and let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put it into a 3D modeling folder that I have created for my projects. Okay, when that's done, basically you're going to get the all the different maps that go with this particular bag. So we have the specular, we have the object itself, the 3D object. You have an MTL file. This is your normal, and this is your TGA file, which is going to be, for this case, the diffuse. So let's go ahead and pull all that into our project here. And I'm going to create a new folder for this, since it's got so many things that we're going to have to do for this. And just call this my paramedic bag. And we might normally have put this into our mesh, but just because I'm here already, I'm just going to throw it in here. Later on, we can move it. There is no skeletal mesh. I don't want to do that. I want to we're going to go ahead and not have it generate the colliders for this. Actually, it doesn't seem to let me take that off. Okay, interesting. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and import all. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't know I had that in there. Just go ahead and say yes to all. Hold it. This is going into correct project. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I ended up just selecting no all. I didn't want to overwrite any of my particular meshes that were in here. Apparently this one, because it's called just diff underscore, and there must be one that's already somewhere inside this project at some place, I was going to accidentally overwrite it. Do not want to do that, so I just said no and had it put it into this folder. Okay, so here is the material for the bag. It looks like it already wrapped it up for me as that bag, and if I double click on this, let's see what it does. You can see here's the bag itself, and what I want to do is I want to see what the colliders look like for this thing. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to pull this up here. Looks like it's laying it over on his face. That's all right. Okay, so collision. So the simple colliders look like that. I think that's going to be okay. We're just going to keep it as a simple. It could maybe... We're just going to go ahead and keep those as simple colliders. Not that we're actually changing anything. I'm just looking to see what the different grids are. This little thing up here that I'm messing with allows me to see what the colliders would look like that is currently on here. Right now the collision has whatever the project defaults are, which may actually be none. One way to tell for sure is I can bring it into the scene. If I hit play, see how my character interacts with it. If I just walk right through it, nope, it actually has colliders attached to it. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Our bag is all set up as a model. So let's go ahead and now go back into our content here real quick. And what I want to do is go back into my blueprints, back into my pickups, which is where we were. And I'm going to go ahead and right click for blueprint class. I'm going to select the blueprint class. I want an actor for this one. And this is going to be called BP Health Pickup. Okay, we're going to double click on that. Open that up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and right click, add component, or add component, I'm going to click on there. And we want to get a mesh. And this is going to be a static, let's see here, static mesh. Here we go, the static mesh down here. And this will be our, I'm just going to rename it. Paramedic bag. Okay. And then for the static mesh, that. So I'm going to go ahead and find my paramedic bag and select that. And now I'm going to go ahead and adjust it a little bit. Rotate the bag 90 degrees. And what I want to do is right here, I'm going to replace the default scene route. Just pull up and just replace the bag onto that. Get rid of that little sphere. We don't need that. Just use this bag. And the next thing we need is a box collider. So let's go ahead and select box. I'm going to adjust that collider so that it fits around my paramedic bag. Run into it, it will work just fine. It can be as close to the size of the bag as you want it to be. or you can make it a little bigger. Depends on how you want it to be selected and be able to how easily you want your character to be able to pick it up. All right, so that's the start of our paramedic bag. We've got that started. We're going to compile it and we're going to save it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is now jump over here into the event graph. All right, so inside the event graph, we're going to use this one right here, the event actor begin overlap. And the first thing we want to do is, since this is going to be a health pickup for our character, we're going to want to cast it to our character. So if I pull out from here and type in cast to, and should type in BP, should be able to find our character. And in this case, I want it to be just this right here. So this is my Lieutenant Bellica character. Okay. And then the other actor, we're going to pull out from here, and we're just going to attach that to our object. So now what we want to do is we need to think about the things that we want this health to do. So the health pickup is going to add health back to our character. So we need to write a blueprint that's going to do just that. It's going to add health back into our character. But we also don't want it to put too much health onto our character, right? We only want it to stop at 100. We don't want to go over 100. So we need to do a check to see if our health is full as well. So we need to do a check to see if our health is full. We probably need to do that before we actually add the health to our character. And we also need a function that is going to allow us to add that health to our character. And we're also going to need a variable that is going to determine how much this pickup is worth. So we could do that variable right now, and let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and hit the little plus button right here. And this is going to be a float, but first let's give it a name. We'll just call this health pickup amount. All right. And our Boolean, it's not a Boolean, this is going to be a float. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. All right, that's all set up, but we need to get those functions written first. And they're not actually going to be here with the paramedic bag. They're actually going to be back on our character, which is the reason why we set this to cast to Lieutenant Bellica, or to whatever your character's name is. So let's go ahead and jump back to our blueprint for our character. And if you don't remember where that is, remember that's in blueprints, under our pawns, and then wherever your character is, and you're going to find their blueprint inside there. All right, so now what we need to do is we actually need to create that check first. So let's go ahead and we'll create those two functions first. And the one we're going to start with is going to be the check to see if our health is full. All right, so right here under functions, we're going to hit plus for a function. And this function is going to be, the check is health full. All right, first step out of the way, yay. Okay, the next thing is we already have our health down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pull this out and we're going to check to see what our current health is right now. So just pull that out. And, well, what we want to do is to see if the health is full, which is what the name is. So is it worth whatever our full amount is? And in this case, it's 100. Go ahead and pull out from here and hit the equal sign. And we want to just do just one equals. That's all we needed. We're going to do an equal float. That's what this is. All right, and this is going to allow us to put in 100 down here for our variable amount, or for our comparison amount to check to our variable. What is our current health at? Is it equal to 100? And if it is, that means it's full. And then we're going to go ahead and return this. So let's go ahead and type in there, return node. There we go. And then we're just going to pull this up here and click that into there. And that's going to be our return value of either yes or no. So it's going to be a Boolean of true or false. All right. Go ahead and compile that and save it. Oh, you know, the other thing we need to do is we need to make sure that this is a pure and constant. All right. So right over here on the right hand side, check to make sure that it's check mark for pure and for constant. Now we should be done with this one. Let's go ahead and compile that and save it. Okay. And the other function that we need to create is going to be the function that actually adds the health. Okay. So back over here for our functions, let's hit plus, and this one's going to be add health. All right. Now again, we're going to pull out whatever our health is, so we're going to get our current health value. And we're going to pull out from here and hit the plus, so hold the shift and the plus button. We're going to get a float plus a float. And we're going to take the add, whatever we're going to add, into here. And you know what? My bad. So the first thing we need to do is we actually get to give a couple outputs here. Sorry about that. Or one output. And that output needs to be health to add. So this an input. All over the place with my terminology. Apologize. So this is actually an input because it's coming into our function. Okay. And this is going to be a float. And this is going to be health to add. Okay. Now, because it's a float, we can connect this into here. There we go. Now, the other thing we want to be careful of is even though we're doing a check to see if our health is full, we could create a scenario where we go above our max health. In other words, if you run into a health pickup and you've only lost a few points in comparison to what the health pickup will plus back up. Say you set your health pickups to be worth 50 and your character is only missing 25. If you picked it up, you could conceivably get 125 on your health. So we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're going to clamp it at a max. So we're going to pull out from here. We're going to type in CLAMP for clamp. We're going to clamp a float. And it can be 0 for the minimum and 100 for the max. Okay? And now we're going to go ahead and what we want to do is we want to set our health from here. So once we do all this addition, we're going to pull out the health again, and this time we want to set it. This is going to be our input there, and then our input for our return here for health. Nope, don't do that. There we go. Right into there. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and compile and save that. All right, so let's go back to our health pickup right here. Okay, go ahead and just do a save all real quick, save everything we have. Don't lose anything. And the first thing we want to do is we want to do that check to see if our health is full. Since we're actually casting from our Lieutenant Bellica, we need to pull out from there and go, is health full? There we go. And that will get it to show up. We could also have taken off the unchecked box in the right hand corner to find it, but let's just do it this way. Alright, so now we have the check for is our health full. If it is full, and actually in this case we do not want it to be full, so we want to pull from here and we're going to do a not boolean because we're doing a check. Is it full? If it's full, then this is not a true situation. If it is full, this is not going to happen. If it is not full, we want this to happen, right? We want to be able to add health back in if it's not full. So now we need a branch. So let's go ahead and we can hold down the B, left mouse click, and get a branch. We're going to connect our output into our input, connect this not into the condition. And now what we want to do is we're going to pull out from here again, and we're going to type in add health. There we go. We're going to call out that function add health. Should look like this. We'll fix those lines in a second. Connect that into there if it's true. And let's go ahead and double click on this line. I'm going to pull this down a little bit. And double click on it again. Straighten that out so it looks halfway decent. And now the health pickup amount. So the health that we're going to add. So this is where that inside that function when we created that input for health to add. This is our health amount pickup. Now we haven't actually given this amount anything, so let's go ahead and compile this real quick. We'll go save. And then right here for our health value, let's go ahead and say that every time you pick up a health pickup, you get, I don't know, maybe 25 health back. Okay, so 1/4 of your health back, and we'll see how that works out for your game. You can make it any amount you want it to be. So we're going to go ahead and get this amount. Right now I've got 25. If you, since you're designing your own game, and however hard you want to make it or however easy, you can decide how much you want your health pickup to be, you know. All right, so now we've got that added in. The next thing we want to do is we want to, after we pick the health up and we add this back into our character, we want to go ahead and destroy this actor. And fortunately, we don't have to write that function. That's one that already exists inside of the blueprints. So we can just type in destroy actor, and it pops up, and there we go. We'll go ahead and destroy that actor after we're done. Let's go ahead and compile it, save it. All right. Now let's go ahead and give this a test. Let's go back into our blueprints, into our pickups, and we're going to pull this out here, and we can always adjust it. It looks like it's 100% upside down, 180 out to where I want it to be. Let me just go ahead and rotate it real quick. Oh, no, it's actually only 90. Set that down. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit play. If I run over to it, nothing should happen. If I wait for my spiders to come down and attack me, wow, which one's going to get here first? There's an awful lot of them coming at me. Alright, so let them damage me a little bit. And you can see I just ran over it and I picked it up and it added back to my health. Alright, so that seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Alright, so now that is the completion of the first part. We actually have our health pickup working. So let's go ahead and go back in. I can close this out. Actually, I don't think I can fix that here. Go ahead and close that. And when we go to set up our health pickup blueprint, we may have to adjust the way it actually appears. We may have to do that here in this, oops, wrong one, in this viewport. No. Okay. I'll figure that out. All right, so let's go ahead and save all. Now let's go ahead and go back to our content here. And the next thing we want to do is we want to create a way for this bag to spawn. Now, what we did was we used those target points for our spawn points for our enemies, right? That was kind of quick, convenient. They're already made. We didn't have to make them, and that's kind of what they're for. But because the way, you know, the kind of approach to this is have your enemies spawn outside of your gameplay area and move into it like they're coming from outside and they're attacking inward. We want to make sure that that we don't use those same pickups because it won't do us any good for our bags to spawn outside of the area where our character can pick them up, for one. We also don't want to create a situation where we have multiple things spawning in the same place. And the other thing is that we're going to control the way the bags spawn by limiting how many bags can spawn in each spot, because we don't want to make it so that we have multiple bags spawn in one spot, which it will do unless we limit that. All right, so let's go ahead and get our blueprints written, and we'll worry about the orientation of how our bags spawn once we put it into the scene. Okay, so this is going to be done. First, what we need to do is we need to create that actual spawn point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just right-click. We're going to go in and create a blueprint class, and this is just going to be an actor. All right. And we're going to call this BP underscore health spawn point. All right. And that is going to be pretty much it. We're not going to go in and do anything to the actual spawn point. There's no coding that we're going to do, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that alone. The next thing we want to do is we want to test this out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one of these out. I'll just stick it right over here so we can see it. And when we're spawning, we got to be careful about how we set up these points. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up out of the ground so it's not sticking in the ground. And I'll explain that for a reason for that here in a second when we get that far along. All right, so I'm just going to set that there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my blueprints, go to my game mode. I'm going to open up the BP game mode, so our blueprint for our game mode. Okay, and this is where we set up our spawn points for our enemy. So we're also going to use this to help set up our spawn point for this. I'm going to go ahead and close a lot of this stuff I have open right now. I don't need all this. Okay, so back here at our event graph, I am just going to grab the spawn enemy, kind of move it up over here out of the way a little bit, make a little bit of room in between. All right, so for our event graph, what we're going to do is we're going to right click in here and we're going to put in another custom event. Okay, and inside this custom event, we're going to go ahead and now create our function for spawn health pack so that we can go ahead and put that in here. All right. And this is actually going to require us to do a couple of different things. So first, what we're going to do is right here where the function is, we're going to have to get a random spawn point, just like we did for our aliens, because we want these to kind of randomly spawn in different places around the game field. So let's go ahead and we're just going to call this get random health spawn point. Okay. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to get all actors of class. Okay, so let's go ahead and type in get all actors of class, just like we did before with our other spawn point setup. And again, here we're going to hit the down arrow. We're going to type in BP, and we want the health spawn point. Okay. And we're going to want to get the index of the array for that. All right. So I'm going to pull out from here, and we're going to get our last index. So it's going to go out and see how many we have and get the total number for us. And then we want to go ahead and just have it pull out a random number out of our index. So we're just going to go ahead and type in random integer in range. So within the range of our index, we want to get that random number. And this actually should go down here on our max, not our min. So I'm going to go ahead and hold the control button, left mouse click and drag it down to the max. And now we're going to go pull out from here and we're going to just type in get. And that might not be a place to get it from. No, it's not going to work from there. Let's go ahead and pull out from our array because this needs to go in there as well. So we're going to go ahead and type in get right here. And we want to get a copy. Plug that in there. And now what we want to do is from here, I'm going to pull out from there, and we want a return node. Now this return node actually needs to have a return from this. So let's go ahead and see what it's going to give us. We'll click that up into there. And we're going to change the name of this output to health spawn point. Okay. So we know what this is. Okay. And it should be, this is all correct. Okay. So we're all good there. Sure we have everything. So the minimum number of integer in range to the max number, which is the last index. We're going to get whatever this random number is, and that's going to be the spawn point that we're going to use. We're going to go ahead and compile it and save it. And this is done. So now let's go ahead and create the function that we need to actually spawn the health pack. So we're going to go ahead and click in here, and we're going to type in this is going to be spawn health pack. Oh, that's what happened. Well, let's fix that. F2, get rid of my caps. All right, there we go. That looks a little better. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we want to get that random health spawn point and pull that out. Connect up our output into our input. Now we want to check to make sure that this is valid, so that this is actually a valid spawn point. So is valid, and we're going to check to make sure that that's the health spawn point. Right. And if we pull out from here, get actor transform. So we want to get actor transform. I'm going to right click out here and type in spawn actor from class. Okay. And the actor that we want to spawn is the little down arrow right here. We want to type in our BP, and we want to spawn the health pickup. Okay. If it's valid, we want to spawn it. And the place we want to spawn it is from this random spawn point. Now, right here is where we're going to kind of control the way that it's going to spawn to limit the number that actually spawn into the same, to make it so that only one will spawn into a location. We don't want any extras. So if I hit the down arrow, what we're going to do is we're going to try to adjust location, and then we're also going to say don't spawn if still colliding, because we want to limit it to a certain number. And if all of our spawn points are full, we don't want to keep spawning outside of our spawn points either. So we're going to go ahead and use this function to help control that for us. We're going to try to adjust location. So in other words, if it looks and it says, okay, I'm going to spawn here at spawn point number 1, and then it randomly picks another number and says, oh, spawn point number 1, and it wants to spawn at spawn point number 1, but there's already an object there, it won't be able to spawn at that location. It'll look for a different spawn point. All right, now with that done, let's go ahead and double check to make sure that it's valid, because now we're going to actually do a spawn. We want to make sure that the spawn is valid and that it actually did spawn. Not that it tried to spawn and didn't, but it actually did spawn. Okay, we're going to use that as a return value. Then we're going to add this in, so we're going to start doing a little bit of math here. And what we need to also do is we need another variable for this. So let's go ahead and create that variable first. So we're going to hit plus for the variable, and this is going to be health packs. Okay. And why am I having trouble typing? All right, health packs. There we go. And this is going to be an array. So we're going to click here, and we're going to select the little array. And we're going to change it from Boolean to... All right, that's right. So we need to change this to an object type, okay? And our object type is going to be our BP health packs. Okay, so our BP health pickups. Okay. And now that is correct. Yep. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to add. So pull out from here. And actually what we want to do is we want to pull out this health pack first. Okay, we're going to get our health packs. We're going to pull out from here and we're going to add to our return value here. Which goes in here. All right, now we need to know basically how many we have of our health packs, and we're going to do that by getting the length of the number of health packs already in or that are in the scene or have been created. So we're going to get length, and we also need to create another variable that's going to determine what our max number of health packs are that we want to be able to spawn at it for each level. Okay, so we're going to call this max health packs. Okay, and we're going to change this from an array to just a regular variable, and we're going to make this an integer, okay, because our input and output here is an integer. Pull this out. We're just going to get our max health packs. We're going to compile this real quick, save it, and with our max health packs variable selected, this is where we need to make a decision about how many we want to have in here. Okay, and our max health packs, I'm going to go ahead and select 4 for this per each level because I'm going to set my health at 25. I want to be able to give the opportunity to get back to 100% on our health, so I need 4 of these to spawn at each level. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to compare this length to the max that we have here. So I'll pull out from here, and we're going to do an equals. We want to just compare these two. And now we want to set up a Boolean to compare it, if this is which condition this is, okay? Because what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep looping back around and continuing to add in until we reach this truth where we have our max or our length of number of health packs that we spawned equals to the number of health packs that we have set for our max for each spawn time at the beginning of each new wave. So we're going to go ahead and up here I'm just going to hold the B key down, left click, get a branch. I'm going to connect this in, my output into my input for my branch. I'm going to check to see if this condition exists, and if it's true, then what I want to do is I want to clear this array, because if we don't clear it, it's going to just hold that in its memory, and then the next time it goes to spawn, it will have already surpassed this to be true, so it will ignore it and just continue spawning health packs forever until you stop the game. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to type in clear because I want to clear the array. Pull that up here. Clean this up a little bit by putting that down in here. So if it's true, if this condition is true, we're going to move forward. We're going to clear our array. And then what we want to do is we want to clear the function, clear the timer by function name. So we're going to go back and we're going to clear this, saying that this now exists. We don't want to continue doing this function. And the function that we want to clear is spawn health. And, oh, I'm sorry. That was the wrong spot. Right here by function name. Let's try that again. And we're going to clear spawn health. We need to type this in exactly how we set up our initial custom function that we created at the function event. Sorry, our custom event at the very beginning. So now, when we take a look at this, we should see that we should be able to spawn. I'm going to go ahead and compile this, save it. Now let's go ahead and go back to our main event graph and complete this here. So let's see here. I want to spawn a health pack. Right there. And the other thing we need to do is right here in our start wave. What we want to do is, I'm going to pull this back a little bit right here. Give me some room to work. I'm going to go ahead and create another set timer by function name. I want to put it in front of all this because I'm not going to add or increase difficulty or increase the number of packs that are spawning. So I'm going to click right here. We're going to type in set timer by function name again. And then that function name is spawn health. And we want to go ahead and set the timer, so spawn frequency, we're going to use the same one that we already have created down here from before, which is at 0.8 in this particular one. I'm going to hit compile and save. And let's go back to our event graph. Right, so now we should have our spawn health pack, and right here, that's why it's not going to work right here. This custom event, I never named it. So let's go ahead and, since it's supposed to be spawn health, let's go ahead and give it a name. Good thing we double checked. So spawn health, and then if we take a look at back into the function, we're clearing spawn health, and then start new wave. We're starting spawn health. Go ahead and compile, save everything. Go back to the event. Right here for the end wave, let's just double check to make sure that that function is in here. It is. And save. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our scene. Now, I have it set so that we can spawn 4, but let's go ahead and I'm going to just duplicate this right in front of me so I can see where it's at. I'll put so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop doing that. Sorry, I've been using Maya again. I'm trying to use my Maya controls. Okay, so now I've got several of these spawn points here. Let's just see how the randomness works. Hit play. And the next thing we're going to need to do is fix that. And it looks like I have 7 that spawned, which we don't want to have happen. And they all spawned, I believe, in the same spot. So I pick that up. Okay, don't know where they all spawned. All right, well that wasn't what was planned. Pick that one up. Let's take out these spiders and see where they spawn the next time. Spawned in a different spot. Pick that up. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little troubleshooting. And see where they're going first. So they all should be spawning right here. And they're a little bit off the ground, which will be okay. We'll adjust the way they're spawning in a minute. Let's take a look at our blueprints. Ah, I see the problem here. So right here, the set timer by function name, we actually need to loop this. Even though it said it was spawning, it didn't physically spawn them because of this. So we need to loop that, and it spawns supposedly to the max. The other thing we want to do is, let's double check. Okay. All right, so let's jump back over here, hit the play button, and see what we end up with. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should stop at 4. And it did. All right, so we've got 4 of them popping up. And if I take some damage, and take out some of these spiders, 6 of them there. Okay. And let's see. Now, what should happen is it should spawn 3 more for a total of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, there they all are. I should be able to pick one up. Okay. And it's working the way it's supposed to. And the reason why it stopped at 7. Hold on. I can refurbish those. Let's see what's happening here. All right, spiders, stay there. Stay there. Oh, no, 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 no. You need to run. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should not have refurbished that one. Not yet, anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You might have caught it just at the very beginning of that particular. Yeah, I think we're fine. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, we're good. All right, so now what we want to do is, since they're all kind of turned sideways, we need to rotate this 90 degrees. I am going to select these. Spawn points here. And I'm going to delete those. I'm going to select this one right here, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Not that you can tell that it's actually being rotated 90 degrees. Save it. All right. W. Create 4 more of these just to check to see how it comes out. Should spawn in the right side up. You can also rotate them in the direction you want them to face. Okay. Now the other thing is they're kind of hanging off the ground there. So what we want to do is we want it so that they'll have room to spawn, but then actually be on the ground and kind of match the surface of the area that we're going to put them on. So we go ahead and put it just a little bit above here. Make sure they still spawn. That's one of the things you got to check when you put this in someplace. Make sure that it actually will spawn in that location. Because if there is a reason why they can't spawn, if they're going to collide with something with the settings that we have, then they're not going to spawn in that location. And since I have this grass down here, that's something to think about as well. What I want to do is I want to set it so that it's occupying the right space, so that after the next ones, after they spawn, another one won't spawn on top of it. Okay, so once we have that, let's go back to our health pickup. And then with the paramedic bag selected, what we want to do is we want to set it up so that, and let's make sure I got the right thing selected, is the bag. Yeah. All right, so there it is. All right, so right here, we have gravity enabled. We want to simulate physics. We're going to let physics get simulated for this. And then we want to set some constraints because we don't want it to be able to be kicked around by the player. So they can kick it out of the intended area, spawn area, because if they kick it out, then the next one will spawn in that spot. So we don't want them to be able to kind of cheat the system, and we want to kind of lock it in. So I'm going to lock it at X and Y, but we're going to leave the Z, which is the up and down, and then we're going to lock the rotation of the Z so that it can't rotate in the Z direction, but it can rotate in the X and Y so that as it settles on the ground, it looks like it's actually laying on the ground. And let me go ahead and make sure we got everything else. All right, we're going to compile it real quick, save it, go back in, we're going to hit play. What should happen is our bags should fall to the ground as they spawn, but no other ones will be able to spawn there. So let's just double check that. Okay, so no other bags should be able to spawn on top of these bags. And that seems to be the case. All right, so that should do it for this particular let's see here. Where am I at? Sorry about that. So that should do it for our lesson this time. We should basically have the ability to replenish health now, and spawn our health kits so that they spawn into our scene, and you can place these randomly anywhere you want in the scene, and you can have as many as you want. Initially, it'll only should only spawn 4, and then if the player doesn't use them all up, another additional 4 will pop in, but not in the same place as the ones that were remaining. So that should spread them out all over your gameplay area, so that your character your player has to still run around and actually go get these health kits from different locations on your map. If you've missed my previous videos on making this game, because this is video number 16 on the series, so all the way back at the beginning where we started this game, all the way up to now, you can catch those on my YouTube channel, Paul Fritz Animation, and kind of check out where we've been, where we are today. And I'm going to continue adding things to this game as I come up with things. I think the next thing we're going to do is trigger a trigger object like a door, so we can open and close a door or move a lever or something like that, simply by occupying a space. So that'll probably be in the next video, but this right now is pretty much a kind of a playable game. What I might also do instead of the trigger first is kind of talk about building out the game, setting things up in the scene, kind of playing around with the lighting and how to build the game out, and then maybe move on to setting up triggers and things like that, just so you can kind of decide where you want to stop with making the game. All right, so again, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please like my video and please subscribe to my channel. Yes, please subscribe. I would appreciate that. That would help me out to continue to be able to make these videos. Even though I'm making them for my classes at school, it would also provide me the ability to continue to make these outside of that as well. All right, so thanks again, and leave any comments you have down in the comment section.